In fact, we are live. To the good start. But yeah, right, sprint. Here we go again, round 13 and 14 into the second half of the season we go. But yeah, right, Canada and Portugal. Two 25% races, 18 at Canada, I'm pretty sure it's like 15 at Portugal or something like that. But yeah, right, looks like we've got 60 people in for this one. Blood wave is meant to come as well, I'm pretty sure. It's usually how this works. But yeah, just waiting for everything to be set up now. Just had to sort something out there. Just waiting for sprint to get underway at this point. Yeah, hopefully people are in chat and getting ready for two brilliant races. I hope. God, I hope. I beg it is two good races because I can't be having another one of what Baraka gave us the other day. That was we if anyone was in on Sunday night, that race was uneventful, let's say that. Just getting myself hydrated for it. Can't be too long before we get going now. Canada's going to kill a bunch of people, isn't it? It just is. We've been to Canada already this season once. Last year, well, a couple of weeks ago actually. I know I was having a great time there until I span. Hello, Said. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you? I am fully waiting to see whether or not the carnage ensues like it did last time out. I don't know why we're waiting so long. But until then, we'll figure out what is going on as we go along. We were meant to start at 8 o'clock, to be fair to everything. And they're actually going to try and figure out what's going on now. Should not be taking this long. Okay, this man in a VAR. He is in a Williams today, though. No, it looks like we're going now, finally. It took a while. Took a while, but we should be getting ready to go now. For some reason, Moss is also Bulgarian on this game. Little things you realize that you go through. Jesus Christ, someone give Bloodwave an invite. I'm giving Bloodwave an invite. Oh no, he's in the lobby. Never mind. I can't invite him anyway. Alright, it looks like we're going. It's been a while, but we've already put... Yeah, it looks like we're getting ready to go in Canada. Well, let's see what absolute chaos happens here then. About 30 seconds. Starting to get cold outside. Oh my god, it's raining! It's raining! It's raining! Here we're going on intermediate tyres. Oh, this is going to be chaos. This is going to be absolute, complete and utter chaos. Oh, this is going to be fun. It can't be as bad as Japan, but it's going to be fun. For those who weren't, who haven't watched that. Wait, well, probably should. It was chaos. Right, there's 5 red lights, and it's lights out, away we go! Major at the top, O'Leary in second. I need to sort out all the lap data and everything up here. Everyone's on the intermediate tyres, so I don't need the tyres on, and it's a little bit deep there from O'Leary. And it's going to allow both the Ferraris to come at him. MBMA going around the outside of Ross gets that position. We've got a few people sliding all over the place. I think O'Leary's just got off the track. O'Leary has got off the track. I think O'Leary might have just got into a wall very slightly too. He'd gone to second from the back. DDK in front of Hallinan now, and we've just got cars forming them like mad back here. It's just a pedestrian train almost through the beginning of the second sector. It's almost a pedestrian train through here too. As we watch mini turns go down the inside of Hallinan with relative ease there actually as we go down into the beginning of the third sector now, and well, the final chicane of the second sector, and then into the third sector we go. Staber's trying to move up positions. He does. He gets big turns. He's going to have a go possibly at the Aston Martin down the inside here until the McLaren gets it all wrong. McLaren did not have a good time there. There's no camera angle of me seeing what the hell is actually going on through this corner. We've got like 10 cars in a bit of no space whatsoever. Give me a good camera angle, please, game. Ross versus Daxi going on now. And Daxi goes deep. Daxi goes very deep, and then Ross has hit him on the way through. Daxi got that all wrong. Daxi got that all wrong. Ross is currently in the lead of the race until Daxi gets it down into turn 1. And Daxi does it pretty nicely, turn 1 and turn 2. You've got MBMA coming through, DDK as well. Oh, MBMA almost losing the car quite drastically there. It looks like a few things happening here. Moose is having a bit of a problem, losing a couple of positions on the way through. Oh, that looked like Hallinan on the grass again. Hallinan is not enjoying this wet weather. Hallinan is really not enjoying this wet weather. Oh, they've come to... Oh, Major! Major in the wall! That did not look great! That did not look great! Major has just gone off the track into a wall. He's lost his front wing entirely. Oh, he's got to go deep, very deep, and that's going to, well, Moose and Saeed not having a great time on the inside of the hairpin either. Moose has got away quite drastically. Yeah, Major is in trouble here now. Daxi also has a almost an entire second lead at the moment. And it looked like Daxi a 1:20.0 at this current point in the race. Staber up into 6th. He's going against Alu, and he's got to the inside of Alu, and actually able to keep the position that he gained the corner prior against Alu. Staber's up into 6th. Mini turns has a penalty. Saeed's got 3 for track limits. Looks like O'Leary's going past Hallinan as well. Hallinan's had a bit of a problem. Hallinan's had a very big problem there through the beginning of the first sector. Looks like turn 3 was not kind to him this time. I don't know if he's lost any sort of front wing. Doesn't look like he's got any major damage or any visible damage whatsoever. It looked like, well, we have a little bit of a battle going on. Big turns picking up 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties now as well, as Boomer drops off the back of Alu here. DDK is trying to catch up to the front 2. Front 2 still within a second. That looked very deep from Staber. Staber having a life or death there with the wall at the end of the hairpin. It's probably not the kind of thing you want to be doing as we watch mini turns and MBMA in the foreground. And it looks like mini turns return to the league. Gets the Ferrari this time. It is his first race back in the league, and Mini turns are going to take advantage of that. Gets him up into 4th place. Staber had a look to the inside there of MBMA, but not able to do much about it. Staber's going after him now. MBMA does not want to be on the grass, I'll tell you that much, especially not in the rain. Boomer picked up 3 seconds for track limit penalties now as well, as Canada is completely unforgiving for that. We saw that in the 50% leagues. When we came here not that long ago. See if Staber's going to be able to do anything here. No DRS, obviously, because it is rain. And that disables the DRS. Staber gets a little bit too much sausage curb. MBMA manages to save the car. That's an excellent save by the Ferrari, but it had lost him multiple positions. Ross and... Oh, what the hell happened here? Oh, Ross is round! It looked like DDK had stopped in the wall for a minute. Ross has got too much on the power there. He spun round on the exit of the hairpin at the very least. Maybe they came together a little bit before. But Ross is now into right at the back. Oh, that's not good. That was not good for Ross. MBMA picks up 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties, so does OG Moose King. Staber versus Alu still going on. Staber is still trying to hunt down mini turns as close as this got. But Daxi, however, has well, it's Daxi's turn to do a Staber from last week. Staber winning both races extremely comfortably after a couple of crashes from the people trying to fight him. Well, he's opened a 5-second gap here on lap 5 of 18 here at Canada. Staber's trying to find his way through, see if he can possibly add to a streak. There goes Jaguar through as well. Doesn't look like a great corner there for MBMA at all. We go back up to watch the freeway battle between Miniturn, Staber and Alu. Right now it doesn't look like an awful lot is going to happen there. Moose has got past MBMA too as they head down toward the hairpin. And it looks like that's 3 seconds extra for Hallinan. I think that might have just been his first 3 seconds actually. Moose has managed to fully get past MBMA for the moment in time. However, MBMA is going to have the pace. It's going to have the car advantage down the straight here. It's not going to be enough of a car advantage, however, to make sure that he gets in front of Moose King. So Moose King is, in fact, going to hold that position. You know, Big Turns versus Boomer. Big Turns looking to the inside of turn 2. Doesn't get the inside overtake. He will try a little bit of a switchback through turn 3, though. But it doesn't get a good enough exit to really make it stick. He's just going to have to sit behind Boomer for a little bit longer. He had his chance. Big Tez had his chance. He definitely could have got the... he definitely had the exit. Just couldn't get the power down soon enough. Alu now outside of a second. And I think MBMA's got a problem. Yep, MBMA is in the wall. He's lost his entire front wing. And he's done something very similar to what Major did in terms of losing his front wing, and that's effectively the end of their races. Staber right up against Mini Turns' Alpine here. Right now, Staber does have a podium in waiting. I think Daxi just got a 3-second time penalty. Daxi did get a 3-second time penalty. And that is not good news for Daxi. It's really not good for Daxi, however, he still has a 5-second gap, so DDK needs to start making up about 2 seconds worth of time in the next 10 laps to actually get a win in this race. Hope Pottermouth is dry, otherwise you'll die. Well, I'm kind of hoping for chaos, I'm not going to lie. I want it to be sensible chaos, though. Because I don't want it to be Japan chaos, because Japan chaos was just too much. Actually, should take that off the screen again. No, actually. MBMA gets 5 seconds of speed in the pit lane. That's not good news for him. Staber's still right on the back of Mini Turns as you see DDK in the distance. Probably more likely that Staber gets to move himself toward the front here than anything else happening. It's 4.7 now between Daxi and DDK. That's come down about 0.3 of a second. Now 1.7 seconds split into two of them. Come down a bit more than that. Staber goes deep! Staber goes deep! He tried to send it on the inside of Mini Turns there, and Mini Turns is just extremely patient, saw it coming, and was able to pick it off and keep his position. Kept his composure extremely coolly there. However, it's definitely going to bring Alu into this fight too. Staber picks up 3 seconds now for track limit penalties as well. He got the champion chicane a little bit wrong, cut the inside of the second part of the chicane, and well, now he's actually fighting for a podium spot. He needs to get a move on. He's got the look to the inside again, but the hitting of the back of Mini Turns is making sure that he's not getting past right now. Mini Turns doing a solid job at defending. He needs another 1.8 seconds roughly to get in front of Alu and keep that podium. Jaguar also in a position to move himself up if he can get, well, if he can move himself closer to Big Turn, maybe even closer to Boomer and try and get 2 positions there. Saeed also about to lose a position. O'Leary, who's starting to fight his way back from the beginning of the race where he had a bit of a moment and lost about a good dozen positions. It looked like Staber's going to look to the inside, and actually he's learned his lesson this time. He's actually going to go to the inside anyway because Mini-Turns has gone deep. Mini-Turns has gone deep and he's at the wall. And I think Alu's about to come through as well. And Alu has gone through on Mini-Turns as well. We also had a yellow flag there, but I think it was on Hallinan. Mini-Turn gets back in front of Alu on the way down the straight. Alu getting a bit out of sorts there through the wall of champion chicane and losing a bit of time there on Mini-Turns, who's, well, got a second. There's a second gap between him and Staber now, so Staber needs to find himself about 1.5 seconds just to sit himself on that podium. DDK really hasn't managed to make an imprint on Daxi, and Daxi in complete control of this race still, even with his 3-second time penalty. Yeah, we got a bunch of movement that could happen at the end of this race because of the penalties. Alu getting really close to the back of Mini-Turns now. Half a second split those two. Yellow flag in sector 1, and that is a Ferrari. That's Ross. Ross has gone round. Ross, does he have any actual physical damage? It doesn't look like it. Might have got some damage that we can't see. Alu really close to Mini-Turns now. Staber up in the distance. 1.7 seconds now up on Alu. He needs 1.3 to make sure that turns into a 3-second gap. He gets 3-second gap, he gets himself a podium. We're on lap 10 of 18 now. Daxi has just gone through, and I think Ross has just picked himself up 3 seconds he has for track limits. And in comes Alu around the outside of turn 1 and looks towards maybe the inside of turn 2, but no, backs out. And even with a better exit into turn 3, isn't going to be able to touch Mini-Turns, as Mini-Turns is putting on one hell of a defensive show today, especially against Staber and Alu, two great drivers in the league. Mini-Turns proven his worth so far in this one. DRS has been enabled. It's still raining, which is interesting. We might be going dry. Yeah, we might be going dry at the end of this one. Staber also now has a 2-second gap on Alu. He's gaining about 0.3 of a second on the lap, and the longer this happens, the better it is for Staber. Staber's chances of being on the podium by the end of this one. DDK still 1.7 seconds effectively behind Daxi after Daxi's penalty, and Hallinan picks up 3 more. It's we've had a few spins. Luckily, well, surprisingly, no one's been out of this race so far. It might take one stroke of genius here to get something to work. Staber picks up 5 for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's ended any chance of a podium there now, hasn't it? Alu going on to the soft tyres. It looks like Staber's going on to soft tyres as well. All of a sudden, we're going to be able to have a proper look at who's doing what. Saeed's also on medium tyres, went in a lap ago by the looks of things. Hallinan gets 5 seconds speed in the pit lane too. It's a bit of a messy lap for Hallinan in the last lap. Yellow flag in sector 3. Who's the yellow flag in sector 3? Well, Ross has no front wing, so that's probably a good sign as to who that is. Saeed gets past Hallinan. It looks like Staber goes past O'Leary. And it looks like those softs are starting to come into fashion now. Those softs are definitely quicker than those intermediates, and you know what that means? This could be a great time for Staber and for Alu. Daxi comes into pit, but did he come in 1 lap too late? Staber's the first guy on the soft tyres. DDK is now coming into pit as well. I assume the rest of the grid will come in. Actually, they're not. Mini-Turns and Boomer both staying out, which is an incredibly interesting turn of events. Same with Big Turns, who also stayed out. You got the following. You got 4 guys there actually pitting, and I think Daxi has come out. Daxi is in the lead of this race properly. Big Turns stayed out. DDK has come out 2 seconds quicker than Staber, and I think we have more penalties. So That's 3 for DDK for speeding in the pit lane. That removes Daxie's deficit. And that probably gives Daxie any chance, all the chance he wants to winning this race. We got another penalty for Ross. He's now on 8 seconds. Hallinan has 11. I think Ross just got overtaken. Ross is in the pits. So, chaos reigning very much supreme here as Daxie is going to go a little bit deep on the hairpin there, but has much more grip on this track now, considering this track is dry. I'm not entirely sure the intention of Mini Turns and Boomer from going so deep into this race. They go into the pits now. They've lost a ton of time. In comes Mini Turns, and Boomer's going to have to go in too. Mini Turns picks up 5 for speeding. Boomer picks up 5 for speeding. Does anyone know what a speed limit is in this race? Big Turns comes into pit as well. I think everyone has forgotten what a speed limit is. Staber has 8 seconds worth of penalties, and Alu has a 3.5 second gap behind him. So, Staber, yellow flag in sector 2, and MBMA is out! MBMA is out! Is that going to cause anything? No, it is not. Daxie came up to the point in question there. O'Leary picked up 3 for track limits. I think MBMA picked up 3 for track limits there as well. Not MBMA, Mini, sorry. Picking on the poor guy. Only said his name because I thought I was just talking about him moments ago. Matt's come into pit now as well, and I assume everyone, if they've got the right mind, is on the soft tyres. No, they're not. Okay. There is 4 guys on the medium tyres, and I'm not entirely sure why. But I also think that Mini Turns as penalties are rather mute. I'm actually going to put penalties on as we go along. He needs 5 seconds on Big Turns, so he doesn't have that right now. With Staber plays with fire a little bit there, brushing the wall on the outside there, the wall of champions. You don't do that. That is a very quick fire way to lose parts of your car. He's also got a 4 second gap ahead of Alu right now. Alu's trying to stick himself on the podium here. Daxie's and DDK's penalties are completely mute. But there's a few guys that still have penalties that will come into play at the end of this. Obviously, Staber and Alu, the one we're looking at, 4.3. Staber still needs the better part of 4 seconds to actually do something against Alu here. Mini Turns needs half a second in order to get in front of Big Turns, and a miracle to get in front of Jaguar. Should be fine against Boomer, maybe O'Leary too. Hallinan also will drop a position with his 11 seconds. Right now, there's not a lot of battles going on, as Jaguar versus Boomer is the one the closest on track. We've got 0.4 of a second split in these two right now. And it doesn't look like Boomer was able to do anything with the DRS there. Mini Turns picked up 3 more, and well, that ends any chance of him ending in the top 5. Yellow flag in sector 2 is a Mercedes, but which Mercedes is it? It's Major. Major has lost his front wing yet again. It has not been a good day at the office for Major, as it's Mercedes buddy for the day. Picks up 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties as well. Without end any chance of him getting in front of pretty much anybody here. If anything, he's going to have to protect himself from behind more than he is at the front. It looks like Boomer is still hanging on to the back of Jaguar here. I don't think he gets in front and breaks 8 seconds like. Ross picks up another 3. He's on 11 seconds now. Boomer really, really close to Jaguar right now, and see whether or not anyone's able to do anything. Matt picks up 3 seconds there. It's going to be a rather mute penalty at the end of the day. Both guys either side of him has 11 seconds worth of penalties here. And that leaves us with 2 drivers that don't have a penalty. One we're watching here, Jaguar versus Boomer. Jaguar doesn't have a penalty, and neither does Alu, as Alu is now 6 seconds, or just shy of 6 seconds behind Staber. Staber has 2 more laps to get himself 2 and a bit more seconds. We'll see whether or not he's able to do it. DDK probably extremely annoyed with his 3 seconds right now, because if he didn't have that 3 seconds, he would be in with a really good shout of beating Daxi. But right now, they're just Daxi cruising on into victory at the moment. Would have been a much more interesting race if one had a penalty, the other one didn't. It was 3.5 seconds, but that is not the case we have right now. Boomer still within half a second of Jaguar and has been for the last decade. And it looks like they're actually catching up to big turns in front of him. Boomer versus Jaguar. Yeah. Loved, yeah. He's definitely continued where he left off. That's the easiest way of putting that. Staber picks up 3 more. And Staber could have had his podium there. Staber had a chance. He had 2 laps. He was gapping Alu at a considerable rate. Whether he got to 8 seconds would have been interesting, but he could have got there. Certainly will not get to 11. Boomer picked up 3 more, and that ends any chance of Boomer doing anything. And now we just sit here and wait. I think Jaguar is going to inherit 5th. Yeah, Jaguar will inherit 5th. Big Turns will stay in 6th. They'll get jumped by Jaguar, but will jump in front of Mini Turn, so he will stay as he is at the end of this one, provided he doesn't spin. But we are heading towards the beginning of lap 18, and Howland is out. Howland is out. Their turn 3, of course, is not going to bring anything out. We're in sprint, and I'm almost convinced the red flag doesn't exist at this point. DDK setting the fastest lap so far of this race. Jaguar getting really close to big turns. I don't think it really matters. Also, Staber would have absolutely got to that 7-second gap. That 8-second gap, sorry. He needs 0.8 of a second, but it's a completely moot point now, the fact that he picked up an extra 3, as Boomer's going to go around the outside of Jaguar here. Boomer gets Jaguar into turn 1, and that's going to allow for a little bit of more of a gap for mini turns to be created. Not really going to do much more than that. Boomer's not really going to be able to get in front of big turns, so we're pretty much as we are. I don't think much is going to change. Even the penalties have already been set in stone, basically, and I think it won't take a genius to guess at the final order. As we watch Daxi come down the straight, DDK is going to be kicking himself at the late 3-second penalty, but Daxi completely unchallenged the entire day. The Alfa Romeo wins race 1 of 2 here at Canada. It's been an incredible race for Daxi. He really wasn't challenged at all, and he'll take that. DDK gets second. Alu will cross the line. Actually, will stay under the 8 anyway, so he would have been on the podium regardless of Staber's 3-second time penalty. Staber's going to come 4th. Mini Turns is going to end up being 8th. Not 8th, 7th, sorry. As Jaguar is going to get 5th. Big Turn's going to get 6th. Mini Turns 7th. He only just beat Al Boomer in the end for 8th. And then you should see O'Leary 9. O'Leary 9th, yep, and Moose King coming over behind him for 10th. Saeed, is he? Actually, Saeed's going to take 10th by the smallest of margins. 0.068, takes 10th. Moose 11th, Matt's going to get 12th. Ross 13th. And Major finished a lap back. And that is the end of the first race of the day. Portimao next. I'm surprised we didn't have anywhere near as much carnage in the rain at Canada than we actually got. But at the end of the day, that's one race down. We've got one race to go in Portugal, which is going to be probably the same amount, if not more, chaos. But until then, until we can watch it, then we'll wait and see. And yeah, it's gone back to raining in Canada, because of course it has. The rain provided a decent chunk of interest in action for the first half of the race, but not in terms of crashes and everything else that's going along too. But we will move on, wait for everyone to sort out, well, wait for Boomer to sort out the grids, and as we go along, bearing in mind it is reverse grid for the second race. Daxi will start at the back, DDK will start alongside him. But yeah, we'll have a flipped grid. Alu and Staber. Well, yeah, you will, Mike. Yes, you will. That is true. Mike, are you going to do a Las Vegas to everyone? Last the first. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. So, in this period of time where we're going to wait for the grid to be set, do we want to take bets on how long it'll take Mike to crash? We'll wait and see. I currently have Mike on 3 laps before crashing out. We will wait and see. So there's 4 more minutes of waiting before we go for Portimao. We'll wait and yeah, we got 45. We'll get going here. 17 laps at Portimao. Let's see if we get any fresh chaos. But yeah, we're gonna. Turn 4 is gonna be interesting, isn't it? Turn 4 is gonna be interesting. I don't think I've done Portimao in this game yet. I don't think I've seen anything happen on Portimao in this game yet in this league, actually. Which means this might be a first. And if it is a first, well, we'll get to see what well, I'm assuming if it's the first time this season, then yeah, it's going to be complete chaos. Got a couple of minutes before we go racing yet again. Shouldn't be too bad. I say it shouldn't be too bad. I still. Friend, it's why you have a functioning remote. I may or may not have let one of my remotes die. And thankfully, I have a replacement for the rest of the race. Which is good. Which is very good. We should be going any minute now. Now you're going to crash turn 1. It wouldn't be too surprising, Mike. I've seen it all at this point. Not an awful lot would be. Oh, we're going. We are going. Alright, everyone's setting up. We're on the path to go now. 17 laps of Portimao. The safety cars and red flags are non-existent, so not an awful lot of chance of getting a red flag in this one. Albeit I kind of just want to see a red flag just for the sake of seeing a red flag at this point. I still cannot believe that EA have broken, well, EA or Codemasters or whatever you want to label it as, have managed to break the game's real performance yet again. Looks like it's dry at Portimao. We're waiting for a little bit of choices strategy now, a little bit of altering strategy. Everything, people doing their setups. Here we go, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Mike starts at the front of the grid for some reason. I'm pretty sure he's meant to start at the back. MBMA second, and Major's got up to third. Ross in front of Hallinan as we go down towards turn 1. And it looks like one of the Ferraris had a bit of an awkward inside to turn 1. And we've got a yellow flag already, and a bunch of incidents, a bunch of things have just happened, I think. Everything's continuing on. I think Alu was the unfortunate victim at the end of the day. Daxi also moved up a position as well. Saeed going past OG Moose there, and it looked like Ross is going down the inside and gets it wrong yet again. It's a forced Staber to go a little bit wide there. Staber off the track, getting in front of Moose King at the very least. Was in front of Moose King for the moment. He's now going to go side by side. Let's see if someone gets this corner wrong. There's usually always one person. Staber down 9th now. Looked like Jaguar and Moose King directly in front of us. They're going to go have a fight. It looked like Jaguar was eyeing up a double overtake to the inside there and decided not to actually go for it in the end. I'm not entirely sure why Hallinan's on the hard tyre at the end of at this point. But he is nonetheless. Yellow flag in sector 3 is mini turns actually. I think DDK also having a bit of a problem. We're currently watching the end of the first lap with Mike, Major and MBMA up in the distance. You know, Ross trying to have a look to the outside here on Hallinan. Hallinan defending on his hard tyres, and Jaguar is going to send it up the inside, and Jaguar is going to make that stick. Also Staber up the inside of Moose King, and Staber should be able to hold it. Actually, Staber can't hold it. Moose King has got an excellent exit. Moose King just got one of the best exits I've ever seen through turn 4. Nailed that right up into the grill of Ross, and they actually even passed Ross at the end of the day, and I think Staber might be about to get past Ross as well with the exit out of the hairpin. He does get in front of Ross with the exit out of the hairpin, and I think Ross might be a little bit round. Ross and Boomer have collided. Ross and Boomer have collided. I'm not entirely sure whether that was just a collection of Ross already heading round. We'll wait and see. That's not a good sign. Oh, there goes the McLaren into the wall. There goes Hallinan. There goes Hallinan. You see, shit like this should be a red flag. We actually got a couple of well, it's not going to be a red flag. Alu getting past O'Leary. Daxi a little bit up the road at the moment. Major and Mike up the road as well. Saeed 4 seconds behind MBMA, and the top 3 are what we call gone. And it looked like in front of us, Staber against Moose King for the 5,000th time this race has ended in a Staber win this time. As Moose picks up 3 seconds, so it definitely will end in Staber win this time. And DDK looking to the inside of big turns, but doesn't get it up through turn 4. It doesn't look like he's got the greatest of exits either. That looked a little bit shaky there from DDK. Not allow for big turn to hold on, and might allow for Daxi up the inside. He has said that. Daxi was late on the brakes there. He tried it. DDK very clearly did not shut the door close enough. And DDK's got a little bit awkward out that exit too, and Daxi might be looking for another one up the inside. He doesn't get this one though. Looks like DDK has sufficiently closed the door on the end of the second sector. Just about got away with that one in the end, those two. Going through that hairpin. Daxi definitely went for it. And at the end of the day, Daxi should be looking for the inside here, and Daxi is going to be looking on the inside of DDK and already makes that move. Moose King gets in front of Saeed. Saeed's had a bit of a nightmare. What the hell has happened to Saeed? He's dropped a few positions. He's lost out to Staber, OG, and Big Turns on the last lap. Not great news for Saeed. He's got Daxi and DDK right on his grill as well. Well, it was that was the case until DDK gets past Daxi, and Daxi might have had the worst turn 3 in his life. It looked like Minitas might be able to have a good look up the inside of the following corner of the hairpin. Nope, he's not. Daxi got the inside of the following corner, and that will be Daxi's position then. Albeit it didn't look great on the exit. Mini-turns is going to look to the inside here now, and Daxi is going to have to defend from, well, from a position of his own making. He is going to be able to defend it reasonably well, but he has to make the move back on DDK all over again. He struggled with that to begin with. Will he struggle with it this time? Major being in second on the medium tyre is an incredible feat for him right now, and he is flying at the moment. It looks like MBMA, there you go, with the DRS and the better tyres have got past Major there into turn 1. It looks like Big Turns gets in front of Moose King 2. We just catch the end of that before they hit turn 1. Moose King's 3-second time penalty will knock him out of the top 10. Daxi still not able to make a lot happen right now. And Daxi gets in front of Mini Turns and DDK actually. DDK having a bit of a problem. Alu goes deep as well. Looks like DDK had an absolute nightmare of a turn 3. And DDK does manage to stay in front of Alu for the moment in time. Who's got the better X up the hill? It looks like DDK, and DDK holds on. So DDK lost a couple of positions. That removed the ability, that removed the need for Daxi to actually go past DDK, and that would make his defense on mini turns a lot easier as he tries now to attack Saeed rather than defend from the Alpine behind him. We've also got a battle for the lead. We'll come to that in a moment if we see Daxi try something here. Going down the straight. MBMA should have enough DRS to survive against Major. We'll wait and see whether or not that is the case. Actually, that is going to be the case. So we'll come back to Daxi versus Saeed very quickly. And that is going to be Daxi with the DRS making quick work of that. I think Mini Turns is going to make mincemeat of Saeed too. And Mini Turns have done pretty well there to get by as well. And Saeed is just going to have to hang in there. He is now down to 10th, but I think Staber and Jaguar are going at it. And Staber, with the inside of turn 4, has got an excellent exit and manages to get past Jaguar there. Up into 4th place. You've got both the Mercedes and the Ferrari directly in front of him, not that far up the road. There is, however, 3 seconds split in them. Mike has got outside of the DRS, so the medium tire later on will fall back into Major's wheelhouse. It might fall into Staber's territory here as well, as Staber is going to get a little bit clear here of Jaguar. Also, Major gets past MBMA. MBMA must have had a little bit of an awkward corner because he just lost a good near second on Staber there. And that is not a mistake you can afford to have with a Tier 1 driver who's just won 2 of the last 3 sprint races, breathing down your neck. All 4 now, all 4 of the front guys all within 2 seconds or less of each other. MBMA within a second of Major, but doesn't have the DRS down the straight. It looks like right now. Yeah, the Alu pits. Boomer's pit. Boomer got 5 seconds of speed in the pit lane. Alu looks like he is onto the soft tyre now. Daxi going after Moose King. Daxi got very much clear of Mini Turns as he looks to try and further himself up the grid after winning race 1. Maybe trying to do a double race win like we saw Staber do last week. Albeit, Hallinan was extremely quick last week before Spearhead and Charizard went into the side of him at Spoon's Curb. Mike picks up 3 seconds worth of track limits, and that is not something you want to do while winning. That is a bad idea. It looks like oh, there you go. There it is. That's the one spin from the front. But it isn't for the Red Bull that we thought it'd be. It's for MBMA instead, who's managed to spin on both of his return races to ALR. It looks like Moose is going to have a real good shot on the inside against him here, and if he's going to have a good shot against him on the inside here, then that probably means Daxi is too, and that's just a corner cut. And that's the speed in the pit lane. MBMA just had an absolute shocker of a lap. It looks like, especially a shocker of a third sector, as Daxi goes past Moose King there, as Moose King's going to look back to the inside, and Daxi goes deep and picks up 3 seconds. That was irresponsible. That was just a slide, and that was just something he could have completely avoided. It looks like Mike has been overtaken by Major for the lead of the race as well. Only a second up on Staber, and Staber's going to be hunting them down real quick. Mike's 3 seconds will drop him at least one position, maybe even two. Even more possible by the end of this. But for now, he's only going to lose the two. He's going to lose out to Staber and to Jaguar. Jaguar on the same tyres as Mike though, so Mike might get a reprieve there. Looking at some of the people might start to pit in the next lap or two. Here's Major coming in. Major is going to come in. Major heading onto the softs of the lap 8. Staber and Mike stay out. Staber's going to go after Mike here. Staber has hit the lead of the race. Staber got past Mike and made that look very easy. Moose stayed out. Did Moose have a problem on the last lap? I think Moose must have had a problem on the last lap that I had missed. He is now third and 7 seconds off of what Staber, and he was not that far behind Staber a minute ago. Saeed also not pit yet. And that means we are now 4 drivers left that haven't pit. Everyone else has gone on to their respective alternate tyres. And it looks like Alu's got past Boomer again. There's two slowly having a little bit of a fight there. Mike's lost an entire second on Staber, plus Staber has... It looks like Staber has already broke a second of Mike. He has. It doesn't look like there's an awful lot going on there. In that fight now, Staber should... Well, he's going into pit now. Mike picks up 5 seconds to speed in the pit lane. This has just been a complete shot in the foot. But it looks like Daxi might be able to have a go against big turns here. But unfortunately, Daxi's penalties don't look... an awful lot like he's going to be able to break 3 seconds, but he is going to be able to make a good move down the inside here, well, on the outside here, before turn 1 even hits. It looks like Major has actually got back out in front of Staber, but I'm pretty sure Major picked himself up a penalty. He did, 3 seconds worth of track limits, and we got yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's Saeed. Yeah, that is Saeed. Saeed having a problem in turn 1. We don't need to know the other tyres now. We do need to know that Major has a 3 second time penalty and has Staber running straight up the back of him. Mike 2.5 seconds further back. Jaguar within his penalty range. I think he might be the only one though. So I don't think Mike's going to get himself the podium that he was looking for at the beginning of the race. Yeah, he had his chance. He blown it. He definitely blew it with his penalties. Definitely shot himself in the foot. By Jaguar closing in on Mike now as well. Staber versus this Major, Jaguar versus Mike. I don't think Staber's going to be able to do anything down into turn 1 here. He's going to try it! He is going to try it! And Staber, if he keeps that in bounds, he has! That is an excellent move. He picked his spot and he made the move work. That was quite literally elegant. That's as good of an overtake you get in turn 1 at Portimao. That was someone who is extremely determined to make it work. You get those overtakes that are completely half-hearted at times. That was the exact opposite of that. Mike apparently forgot how driving works. There's also a track to drive, Mike, because Daxi is going to try and go around the outside here, and Daxi should be able to make the outside work, as Mike has got another 3 seconds for shooting himself in the foot. Mike is all over the place. Mike is quite literally all over the place at the moment. Daxi is going to be able to just do this very nicely as he gets past Mike on the soft tyres now as well. Mostly cancel out most of the car performance there. And it looks like Daxi is slowly but surely creating enough of a gap to big turns, maybe enough of a gap to get himself that 4th position. And there you go, Mike goes back on Daxi actually. Mike's got every penalty under the sun, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Big turn 2 seconds back. Daxi does need to get in front of Mike if he wants to break the gap to big turns and to mini turns further back. MBMA has actually gone past mini turns here as he goes to the inside. He is on the medium tyre though. A good enough exit on the inside of turn 4 for a mini turn is enough to hold that position. I think Moose King might be going for it too, and he is. Moose King might be able to go against mini turns here, and he's going to go down the inside into the hairpin. Can he get a good enough exit? He is going to get a good enough exit. Maybe closing the door a little bit too much down mini turns, but he gets that position for the moment. They're going to go side by side up the hill. It's not the smartest idea in the world. They're still side by side, but that exit is incredible. He has lined that up perfect there, Moose King, and he gets that position really nicely as Mike picks up his about 55th different track limit penalty this lap. Moose picks up 3 more, and that was unfortunate given the overtake he just pulled off. Yellow flag in sector 2. I think that's Saeed again. His race just goes from bad to worse. Daxi going against Mike once again. Will have the DRS this time. And has the DRS assistance. He was already in front, and that will make it very easy for him. Should be able to break a bit of a gap to Mike this time. Yellow flag in sector 3, Saeed yet again. So Staber, albeit isn't his most commanding race I think I've ever seen from Staber, looking to make this 3 from 4. Won twice last week in the Aston Martin, looking to make it a 1 win out of 2. But a double, a 1st and a 4th in the Williams, that'd be a good day for him. Probably sets him up in an AlphaTauri later on as we got mini turns as Moose on the outside of the hairpin again, but mini turns are going to win this time. Moose is not going to be able to hang it around the outside of the hill this time round. Staber picks up 3 seconds. Oh, well that just got interesting. Unfortunately, it's Jaguar he's looking to because Major also had a penalty, and I'm pretty sure it's 5 seconds that the Major had for... Oh no, it's 3 for track limits 2, so that nullifies Major's penalty. Staber's advantage over Major. But right now it's 2 seconds to... 2.6 seconds to Jaguar, and 3 seconds to Major. So it's not going to be too much of a problem, I don't think, that for... what are you doing, mini turns? Not entirely sure what the point was there. Maybe dummy in the pit lane, but he's got away with it. He has definitely got away with it. He stayed in 7th the entire way through. Ross got through on Alu there, and Alu's not having a good time whatsoever. Alu not being able to fight back immediately against Ross there. And Saeed's out. He's in the pit lane, but he is out of the race. Daxi is trying to hunt down Jaguar here. It looked like moment to actually force anything from Jaguar. But Big Turn's also trying to get himself in there. Mike has 14 seconds worth of penalties, and that's going to drop him quite considerably at the end of this. Yeah, Staber 4 seconds up the road, so his 3 second time penalty is completely nullified. There's not a lot going on against him right now. He's cruised the second half of this race, in all fairness to him. Had a bit of a difficult first half of the race, but the second half of this race has been all him. And Moose has got past mini turns yet again. That battle's been quite a sensational one in this race too. does just about enough in the Aston Martin, and I think Jaguar is just about defending from Daxi. Daxi is going to have the inside line though, and Daxi has a better exit, and Daxi out of the hairpin had the move on Jaguar, but now needs to break 3 seconds in 2.5 laps, so no pressure Daxi, but you better get a move on. Big turns also in the DRS now of Mike as we go toward the end of this race. And doesn't look like Jaguar is going to be able to fight back immediately. If Daxi doesn't get enough through the end of the third sector here, he might be able to fight back during the straight, but it isn't going to be the case. It's 8.5 tenths of a second between Daxi and Jaguar, and well, whilst Jaguar will get DRS and close the gap in, it won't be anywhere near enough for an overtake here, so Daxi now has 2 full laps to break a 3.5 second gap. 3 second gap, sorry. And big turns go down the inside of Mike. And Mike has gone so far off track, that should be illegal. Mike picks up another 3 seconds. That is definitely going off track and gaining an advantage. It doesn't matter anyway, because he's in the grass. Alu gets past Ross in the meantime as well. They went down towards turn 1. Daxi has managed to gain a gap, but he hasn't been able to gain anywhere near enough of a gap. Mike has 17 seconds worth of penalties. Oh, Mike getting a little bit squirrely out that corner yet again. Staber, 5 second gap, sorry, on Major. It is about 5.5 seconds now. Staber having an absolute flying second stint. Absolutely nailed it. Daxi also trying to go after Major right now. Daxi needed 1.5 seconds per lap. And at this point in time, he doesn't have 1.5 seconds in this lap. And as soon as I say anything, he now has a 1.5 second gap. Daxi needs to match that again on the next lap. Unfortunately, he has a Mercedes in the way that probably hampers that progress. He is closing in on that Mercedes though. Well, he needs to get past him immediately if he wants to break that 3 second gap. If he wants that podium spot, he either needs to overtake Major here or he needs to break that 3 second gap. If I were Daxi, I probably would have set it there as he tapped Major on the way through. Definitely tapped Major on the way through there, and I think there's an overtake from DDK on MBMA back in the mid-pack. I think Mini Turns is going to get overtaken by Moose yet again, he does. This is going to be an all-out defense here, I think, from Major as we go to the end of the race. Staber very much in complete control unless he manages to spin this away on the last corner. Have seen it before. Have seen it happen before. Not going to put it against anything there. It looks like Daxi going deep. Daxi got deep and he might have just blown his only chance. He has just blown his only chance. So Staber's going to come around the final corner. And Daxi may have just blown his chance of a podium. But Staber didn't blow his chance of a third win in 4. He wins at Portimao rather convincingly in the end. Wasn't the greatest the first stint. Absolutely nailed the second stint. Jaguar was going to take second in the end. Major's going to fill out the podium. Daxi gets 4th. Big Turn's 5th. Mike doesn't even get 6th in the end. Mike might drop out the top 10. He has dropped out the top 10. What the hell? Mike has dropped all the way to the back. Minus his Red Bull teammate for the day. DDK 7th, Alu 8th, Ross 9th, O'Leary 10th, Moose King 11th, unfortunate penalty for him, Boomer 12th, MBMA 13th, Mike 14th, and Matt ends off last of them all. And that is the end of sprint for the day. 2 races, not a lot of carnage this time. Look at that. Staber wins his 3rd race out of 4. And there you go. That is the end of the day. Stable wins. He's won it quite convincingly in the end. 6 seconds ahead of Jaguar, who's put on a nice day of work for himself. Major and Daxi ending third and fourth. Daxi had a good run at that, but he blew his last chance. And there you go. Well, that was both races for sprint. And with that, I will see you guys on Sunday with my voice for Tier 1 in a bit.